we're going to throw out. What questions are we having? Okay, you're a quiet group. Yes, ma'am.
We're going to try to grab a mic really quick.
Oh.
I can be loud.
Well, we want to do it for the recording.
Oh, there's a recording.
Yeah.
There's a recording. It's like that. They're like that here.
Patrick, can you tell a little bit about your store and like where it is in the mall?
Oh,
what
yeah.
else you have?
Yeah, it's funny. I never talk about my story. I talk about this all the time, but I always feel like it's a Tupperware party, so I never talk about my store. I have a store in the Mall of America. It's second floor south. So it's between Vera Bradley and Lindt Chocolate. It's right above like kind of LL Bean. And it sells cleaning and home products, like laundry products. We manufacture laundry soap for the store. It is the best laundry soap in the world, and I don't say that because it's made for me. We started with, I want the best laundry soap in the world, and then we're going to figure out what it costs, rather than, we're going to try to keep it cheap. We didn't do that. We wanted the best. And then I find other brands that I think kind of fit that, and then other things that kind of fit my sense of humor. So, you can buy sponges that say things like, I like my dishes like I like my wine sparkling. It's that sort of a store. But it's in the second floor. You should come by. And if you have laundry questions later, you can actually come to the store and we will answer them for you. Because, it's kind of like a lab.
What's the name of the store?
Oh, it's Mona Williams. And I didn't change the name. It got really complicated. And now, of course, everybody's like, we're looking for the laundry store. And nobody knows what Mona Williams is. It's really handy. But it just seems like a lot of work. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know, it just seems like too much work to me. I'd just rather sell soap and et cetera. Yeah.
All right, we'll do some questions, and you guys can just be loud, and then Patrick, if you can just repeat the question so that we can get it on video. All right.
Yeah. You had that question.
That question. So you told us a lot about the wash cycle. What can you tell us about drying your clothes?
So, okay, I'll tell you about drying your clothes. The thing is, I don't think that many things go in the dryer. The dryer is where you do all the damage. The dryer is kind of like outside influences. I guess the dry cycle is like everything out there that's going on. The only thing I put in the dryer is sheets, towels, undies, and socks. Everything else I hang up. And just so that you know, because you have this idea that my laundry room is like, marble columns and chandeliers. I knew you had that idea. I could see it in you. I could see it. I mean, I could see your, I feel like Teresa Caputo when I did that. It actually is my primary bathroom, which is the only bathroom in my house. So it doesn't take a lot of space to take better care of your clothes. I start pointing at people. If you don't ask questions, I just start pointing and you have to think of them on the spot. Yes, ma'am?
What's your favorite article of clothing and why?
What is my favorite article of clothing and why? I have a few. Let me see if I can narrow it down to one. My favorite article of clothing is a Perry Ellis sweater from 1990. It's navy blue with white polka dots. It's the first piece of designer apparel I ever bought for myself. And I had my senior portraits taken in it because I liked it so much. It is one of the very few things that I have held on to forever. And I love it because it was pretty outrageous when I bought it because the polka dots are like the size of a dinner plate. They're huge. And it's navy with these vibrant white polka dots. And I loved it because it was sort of one of the first times that I let my freak flag fly. It was pretty bold. And it really was when I kind of started expressing individuality. So I loved it a lot. So I've held on to it. In fact, if there are knitters in the room and anyone wants a project, I've wanted to have one. I've wanted to give it to someone and have them use it as a pattern to make me a new one. Because I am not willing to try to block it at this point. It's, if you can imagine, I bought it when I was in high school. It's been around a little while. Yes, ma'am?
I'm a knitter.
Oh.
You do not want me to make you a knitter.
Okay, well, I don't know that. I don't know that to be true yet.
Yeah, well, we could find out for sure. So I have a lot of laundry questions.
Yeah.
I will come into your store and ask the rest of them.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the first one that I have, because I knew I was coming here and I was changing the sheets on my bed and whatever, white sheets, white towels, white anything. How do you keep it white without using bleach?
How do you keep the white without using bleach? Well, the first thing you do is you don't use bleach. Because here's a fun thing about bleach. So, the reason you use bleach is because you want this color, right? You want this white. This color is called optic white. Fun fact, natural white is kind of a warm white. It's almost ecru. And what we do to achieve optic white is we use a blue dye. I actually do this to my hair. We use a blue dye to get it white. So when you use bleach, you actually are lifting the color. So what I tell people is, if you're willing to take your black sweater and, if you're willing to take your black sweater and throw it in with a half a cup of bleach, and it still come out and look okay, then that's what you should do to white. Because if you bleach white, it yellows. It loses that beautiful white color. By the way, bleach has no practical benefit. People think that bleach is sanitary. This is the only thing I have actually not done in a lab myself because the CDC did it and I didn't think I needed to. Bleach does not kill mold. Bleach makes mold clear, so you still have a gross bathtub. You just can't see it anymore. Vinegar actually kills mold.
Wait, what actually kills mold?
Vinegar.
Vinegar.
So there's really no need for bleach. If your white is dingy, you probably are using too much detergent, and the detergent is not rinsing out. For a large load of laundry, you need about 2 tablespoons if you're using commercial detergent, and 1 tablespoon if you are using soap. So that's the big one. Yes, ma'am?
So I have a question for us Minnesota people, but I'm also a backpacker.
Yeah.
How do you wash down?
How do you wash down? Oh, it's super easy. And today's not the right day, but it's super easy. So you wash it like normal. You need to wash it in soap. You should not use detergent on down because it'll actually minimize the loft. You wash it, and if it is your down comforter or it's down pillows, it goes in the dryer with 3 tennis balls. If it's your down backpack or it's a sleeping bag, you let it hang and air dry. Then it goes in air fluff with 3 tennis balls. The down can totally survive the heat of the dryer. The water repellent finish on your parka or on your sleeping bag cannot. That's the reason you don't do it. Fun side note, because Paul McCartney told me not to name drop. But I was off camera with Kelly and Mark, and Kelly's like, Mark doesn't really like the tennis balls. He says they're loud. And as you can tell, I don't have a really good filter. And I was like, look, I imagine you live in a big house. Can't you just go upstairs?
So when you say soap and laundry detergent, what is soap?
Soap is actually made to be laundry soap. I mean, to give you the short definition, soap is a fat and a base that mix together and they create a fat and an acid, they mix together and they create a salt. Detergent are cleaning ingredients that are stirred together. The difference is there's no chemical reaction with a detergent. There is with a soap. Soap is cleaner. It's also much less common. You probably are, I shouldn't say this, they're starting to show up. I used to say you probably aren't going to find a soap in the grocery store. You actually now can. But it will be labeled laundry soap, not laundry detergent. Yes, sir?
If it's a small load, is it okay to mix colors and lights? And also, where is the line between lights and colors? Can you put grays in lights?
The question is, can you mix lights and colors? The answer is you can do anything you want. I can jump off this and hope to die so that I don't have to answer this question. The reality is, if you mix, the better result is to mix cool colors together and warm colors together. I would rather you mixed baby blue and navy blue and lavender and aubergine and gray, and mixed pink and burgundy, orange and yellow. than mixed lights and darks. You'll be happier with the result. And don't be afraid to do a small load. Modern washing machines actually have small load settings. It's really not environmentally that bad. I mean, if you had a washing machine from the 70s, it would not tell you this. But, we don't live in the 70s, which is too bad because it was a great time. But the music was fabulous. But we don't live then. So, I would rather you did it that way than mixed white and color because it really isn't. It's funny, it's not the washing machine that makes a big difference. What's interesting is there's a huge difference in the weight of dye. So when you put navy blue in with white, navy blue weighs about twice what white weighs, and it's actually hard. It's the agitation. You're going to end up with a lot of lint, and lint is just your clothes dyeing. So it's just really hard on your clothes. Yes, ma'am?
Does Mona Williams have any descendants, and do you know any of them?
Does Mona Williams have any descendants? She had a son, he died. She had nieces and nephews. I actually got to meet them. We did an exhibit of her clothes when I was at the University of Kentucky. And in fact, it was the only time that she had her portrait painted by Salvador Dali. And it was the only time it was ever in the United States. We met them. They didn't know much about her. She was very private. When she died, she left all of her papers to the Filson Historical Society in Louisville. And it was very interesting. When Johnny Carson died, they got this whole new batch of papers. Apparently, she and Johnny Carson were very, very close friends, and he used to vacation at her house in Italy. But he was also a very private person, so she didn't leave any of those papers to them until after he passed away. And it was really too bad because, I'm sure he's very interesting, but I wouldn't have really wanted to talk to him to know about Abe McMahon or something, or Charles Nelson Riley. I might want to know about Charles Nelson Riley. But, I would have loved to have talked to him about Mona because she died in 1985. So I never had a chance to meet her. So if I had known that he had known her, I would have loved to have talked to him about her, but I didn't get the chance. Her descendants didn't really know much about her. Unfortunately, she was a diarist, and she left a lot of diaries and a lot of really fun sort of stories. And there's somebody writing a biography about her right now, and I don't know when it's going to come out, but I'm already very excited to read it. Yes, ma'am?
There are a lot of new fibers coming out that are made of recycled materials, a lot of plastic bottles and things like that. Do you find that you have to do kind of research into these new materials? What are your thoughts on them? How are you responding to them?
First of all, the question is about new fibers. I love new fibers. I love them because, technology ultimately is creativity to make our life easier. So I like them. I love things made of recycled plastic. They're one of my favorite things. They do change the laundry game. It's interesting if you've started noticing, I don't watch commercials, but if you watch commercials, you see that everybody's coming out with a laundry sanitizer. It's like the hottest category in the market right now. The reason for laundry sanitizer is those fabrics are basically polyester. So the thing is, we can take a newfangled thing like a recycled bottle, but when we make it into fabric, we're making polyester. Polyester's been around a really long time. We know a lot about it. But we know that polyester is hydrophobic and oleophilic. Oh my gosh, I got to use that. I told you, I can tell you about hydrophobic and oleophilic. Here I'm getting ready to. Hydrophobic means it repels water. Oleophilic means it loves oil. The reason for laundry sanitizer is because your Lululemon stinks. And the reason it stinks is because it holds the oil from your skin, and it holds the bacteria that's in the sweat that's in the oil of your skin. And we're sweatiest under our arms, behind our necks, and between our legs. And so those are also the oiliest spots of our body. So that's where our clothes hold oil, and that's why they smell bad. So laundry sanitizers were meant to break that oil down. So as technology changes, the laundry industry has to change with it. The other thing right now is that brand, and I will not say their name because they get enough press, they don't need me, is saying that you can wash in cold. That's not really true. What they say is cold is 65 degrees, and the only place I've ever been in the United States where cold water is 65 degrees is San Antonio, Texas. Our water is about 50 degrees, so when you wash in cold, it doesn't activate your detergent, so it never really works. But the appliance manufacturers are actually creating settings that bring the water to 65 degrees. So that's another change in technology, because it's sort of the compromise between the lies that P&G tells you and the warm setting. So that's it. Yes, ma'am?
How do you feel about the laundry sheets?
How do I feel about laundry sheets? I love the concept. They contain microplastics, and they don't tell you that. And I don't think they're as environmental as they tell you. If you really want to know the truth, I think they are the ultimate example of greenwashing, because it's, oh, it comes in a cardboard box. Well, I mean, I buy chemicals that come in a cardboard box, and I wouldn't be willing to put those straight into the water supply either. So I just, I think the concept is awesome. I just don't think we're there. Yes, ma'am?
You say this thing about how you can wash anything.
Sure.
I like to take that a step further. And just last week I did something I've also done maybe 30 times before, and I put a sweater on the delicate cycle in the washing machine, and well, it was from New Zealand, and it did contain possum fur.
Yep.
Cool. It didn't come out looking at all like the sweater it was. And what did I do wrong?
You didn't put it in a mesh bag. What you did wrong when you washed the sweaters, you didn't put it in a mesh bag. You put it in the gentle cycle, which was mistake 1, because you should have used the express cycle. Mistake 2 was not putting it in a mesh bag, because you allowed it to move freely in the washing machine. And when it moved freely in the washing machine, it agitated against itself, and the knitter in the back can tell you that it probably felt it. And so it changed the texture of the sweater, because you can put anything in the washing machine, but you can't throw everything in the washing machine, crank it to hot for 2 hours and expect the right result. The trick is a mesh bag, because it would have minimized its movement.
Follow-up question.
Yes, ma'am. Front loader's superior to a top loader, so that's
Even for that.
for everything. I mean, a front loader is a superior machine, always.
We have time for one more, guys. I'm sorry. And then you can bombard him after. You got to go to his store.
Okay. Do we have a non-laundry question? Yes, ma'am.
What was the hardest part of owning your own brick and mortar?
What is the hardest part of owning your own brick and mortar? Oh my gosh, I would love to say it's the staffing, but I have a staff that I will murder for, and if anybody tries to hire them away, you may not have the best week of your life. The hardest part is, if you have never owned one, is figuring it out. It's really fun, but it's like the spin cycle times 10. You kind of have to just figure out how to do it, because you can talk to consultants, you can read books, you can do all of these things, but they all live in a vacuum, and you live in the real world. So when you have your store in Northeast Minneapolis across the street from Surdyk's, you don't think about the fact that you don't have any parking. And then you move your store to the Mall of America, which is awesome, because it's the #1 tourist attraction in the United States. But you don't think about the fact that it's open from 10 in the morning till 9 at night. And when it's open, you're open. So it's really trial by fire. I mean, you just kind of have to ride without a helmet. So the hardest part is letting go of control. So, yeah. All right, I'll tell you what. We're going to step out there. I don't know what time it is. We're going to step out there. If you have all these other laundry questions and you walk up to me, Drew can't stop me from answering them.
I'm going to ask you one more question.
Yeah.
We have a room full of creatives with lots of laundry questions, which is awesome. What would be some advice you would give to people in their creative journey in discovering what part of the cycle they're in, or how to unlock more of their creativity and the way they're expressing that in the world?
Oh, that's actually a great question. It's easy. The hardest part, but the best part, is like being willing to do something nobody ever did. I mean, when I did laundry camp, I said, I'm going to do laundry camp. And people are like, what the hell is laundry camp? And I'm like, it's camp to learn how to do your laundry. And when I said that that was what I was gonna do, people were like, nobody's gonna come to that. Nobody's gonna come to laundry camp. And you know, it was me trusting that I knew what I was doing. Like, I didn't say, wonder what somebody else thinks I should do about laundry. I decided I'm gonna just do laundry camp. And it started, fun fact, laundry camp started as clean clothes and dirty martinis. But I found that nobody could remember what they learned at laundry camp, so they were coming like 5 or 6 times. And we were sending them home in Ubers. So it became laundry camp. But you know, nobody had ever done it. And so I said, I'm gonna do laundry camp. I'm gonna figure it out. And I did it, and I believed in what I was going to do. And then I said, I'm gonna write a laundry book. And I was lucky enough that some other people believed, but I think the hardest part of your creative journey isn't the creativity. I believe we all have innate creativity. I think the problem is we don't allow ourselves to spin. We don't allow ourselves to do something that we've never done. You know, we can all get to the wash because everybody talks about the wash. It's the spin when it goes upside down. That's when you don't know what the hell's gonna happen. But I believe that we all have the creativity. It's that we have to sort of trust ourselves and be willing to do something that people think is a little bit weird. Because, you know, when you go on TV or you go on whatever and you say, oh yeah, you know, I'm the laundry expert. People are like, really? That's a thing? And I'm like, their entire industry is built on laundry. So yeah, it's a big thing, but you know, nobody just ever wanted to put a face on it. I mean, you know, in the 70s, and I'll finish with this little story, in the 70s, you know, when you would watch TV, everybody would be like, oh, I've got to go home and make dinner for the kids. Like it was some like chore. I think Marianne Cunningham is all upset that she has to make, you know, dinner for Richie and Joni. Was it Joni? Ina Garten puts the chicken in the oven the exact same way. The difference is Ina Garten decided it was fun, and Ina Garten was going to tell people about it. And now cookbooks are the #1 selling book category, and there are stores and books and magazines and networks devoted to cooking. And the only thing that happened is people decided they were going to talk about it. So I think whatever your creativity is, I mean, if it's, you know, knitting or possum fur or whatever, when you start talking about it, then that's when your creativity really comes out full circle.
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Patrick. I'm going to do like 90 seconds more of last announcements. We have, you know, you guys can be out in the lobby and hang out. Again, grab some stuff for the upcoming shows at Jungle Theater. Grab kombucha, grab whatever's left over. Help us out. Otherwise, we got to ship all that out in my car. All right, big thank you to Travis. If you work for a company or you need video services, please talk to Travis. He's a great dude to work with and a great person to strategize all of your needs. We're really grateful for him. We're going to get this video up online as soon as we can. I'm going to give a big thanks to our volunteer team for putting this together this morning. Creative Mornings is all volunteer run all around the world because we love you all and we love creativity. So big thanks to them. We've got, I wanted to actually put, like, it's kind of a little blurry, but you know, I wanted to put up logos of, I think, all of the partners we had in 2024. We went to 5 different venues. We had tons of different breakfast partners. We had people funding all of the costs and the needs we have. I'm putting this up to thank people and also say, if you work for a company or know a company, specifically, we're looking for some coffee partners next year still. And we are also, not just partners, but we're also looking for a photographer or two. If you're a photographer and you want to do, you know, some event photography at our events, we're always looking for more people to help out. Please come and see me or come see someone with a lanyard afterwards. But big thank you to all of our partners this year. Let's give them all a round of applause. Most of these companies, I think except for Adobe, we still love them, they're all local companies. So if you're able to, please go out and support them. And when you are at these companies, be like, Creative Mornings. And they might be like, what? Because, you know, maybe we've worked with the owners, but tell them that you are really grateful they support us, so they'll continue to support us.